What if the next country isn't built on land? Imagine looking out across the ocean and seeing a city on the horizon. Not a ship, not an island. An entire city moving across the water. Homes, schools, hospitals, parks, shopping centers, hotels, offices, and thousands of people living their entire lives without ever needing a permanent address on land. And the craziest part? The estimated price tag is $16 billion. This is the Freedom Ship, one of the most ambitious projects ever imagined. A mile-long floating city designed to carry up to 80,000 people while continuously traveling around the world. Not a cruise ship, not a luxury yacht, a real city built on the ocean. The idea first appeared in the late 1990s when engineer Norman Nixon asked a question almost nobody else was asking. What if instead of building bigger ships, we built an entire civilization that floats? The plans were absolutely insane. A vessel nearly a mile long, thousands of apartments, schools, hospitals, restaurants, hotels, shopping districts, a 15,000-seat stadium, even a rooftop airport. The ship would slowly circle the globe, spending most of its life in international waters, while smaller ferries and aircraft transported people to and from land. It sounds like science fiction, but here's where the story gets interesting. Freedom Ship was never designed for ordinary tourism. It was designed to become a permanent home, and living there wouldn't be cheap. Early plans suggested residential units could cost anywhere from roughly $150,000 for smaller homes to several $1 million for luxury residences. Premium suites and penthouses would likely cost far more. In other words, this wasn't a floating city for everyone. It was a floating city for people wealthy enough to buy a piece of an entirely new world. And that's where the dream starts becoming controversial. Because if the cheapest homes cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and the best homes cost millions, who exactly is this city being built for? Families searching for a better life? Or the global elite searching for a new address? Then comes the biggest problem of all: money. $16 billion is an almost absurd amount of money. For that price, you can build airports, skyscrapers, entire districts, or massive transportation networks. Investors looked at Freedom Ship and saw something terrifying. A city, a cruise ship, a transportation system, a floating nation, all combined into one project. And every part of it costs money. Building it costs money. Maintaining it costs money. Feeding tens of thousands of people costs money. Powering an entire city costs money. Protecting it from storms costs money. Everything about Freedom Ship exists on a scale so massive that the financial risk becomes almost impossible to ignore. Then reality adds another obstacle: the ocean. The sea does not care about billion-dollar dreams. A normal cruise ship is already one of the most complex machines humanity builds. Freedom Ship would be dramatically larger. It would need to survive decades of storms, saltwater corrosion, mechanical stress, and giant ocean waves while carrying an entire city on its back. Engineers would be attempting something never done before in human history. And that combination of engineering risk and financial risk is exactly why Freedom Ship never left the drawing board. Years passed, then decades. No construction, no giant floating city, no moving nation crossing the oceans. Yet somehow, the idea refuses to die. Every few years, it returns. New articles appear, new investors are discussed, new conversations begin. The dream always feels just close enough to remain alive. Maybe that's because the world is slowly moving toward the future it predicted. Land is becoming more expensive, cities are becoming more crowded, coastal populations continue growing, and floating communities are no longer viewed as impossible. The ocean is starting to look less like empty space and more like the next frontier. But the most fascinating part isn't the technology. It's the question hiding underneath. If a city spends most of its life in international waters, who controls it? Which laws apply? Which country has authority? No steel hull, no residents, no city sailing around the world. Just a $16 billion dream waiting for someone wealthy enough, ambitious enough, or reckless enough to try building it. And if that day ever comes, humanity won't just launch the largest ship ever built. It may launch the first city that never belongs to any land at all.